What is up, guys? We've got an interesting video for you guys today. As you guys know, I have my 2000 Dodge Dakota, and the bumper on it, which is now sitting right here, is totally junk. This thing is rusted, dented. I went ahead and just removed the front bumper just because it was a lot easier than having it on there. The thing didn't sit straight. It doesn't look any worse without the bumper than it did with the bumper, so I took it off. And this is going to allow me to do something that I've wanted to do for a very long time, because I've seen one picture of a truck with this done, and I will put a picture of this truck right here and you guys will see exactly what I'm talking about. And that is taking the later Dakota lower front valence air dam bumper plastic, like the plastic portion of it, and putting it on the front of one of these earlier Dakotas like this. And in the picture that I put up, as long as I can find the picture, because I remember seeing this thing like 5 years ago and thinking it was the coolest looking thing ever. And it looks like it fits pretty well, like the curvature of this matches up pretty well with this, and since it's plastic it doesn't have to be perfect because it'll kind of flex. So my plan is to take this bumper and cut a line all the way down here, basically right where this kind of lip is. Cut it all the way down that, because it's all busted on this upper side where it actually bolts to this, and use this front portion of it and use these self-tappers that are already in my bumper and bolt that front valence to my front bumper and just see how it looks. It's like a budget body kit deal, I guess. I mean, it's still an air dam, is over $100, and then there's a company that makes a fiberglass one-piece bumper that looks like the still an air dam deal for like $300, and it's a fiberglass bumper, so it's fragile. The still in one is made of like a really durable plastic, so it's a good bumper, but it's still a lot of money. But you could go to a junkyard and get a front lip base. I don't even know what to call this, a valence front lip. I don't know, bumper. I don't really know what to call this. But you can go get one of these for probably less than 50 bucks. Cut it up a little bit and bolt it onto the front of your old Dodge, and it'll sit lower than the Stillin does, I think. And I think it'll look a little bit better. It's going to make it look like it's got some kind of smiley face type of deal going on. So that's it. We're just going to be installing this bumper. Let's get to cutting this bumper and getting it on and just seeing how it looks. Alright, I got this front end cut, and I just took some sandpaper and sanded it very roughly. To make this look nice and smooth, I need to get a block and go over it and spend some time on it, but for now I'm just going to leave it like this. At least it doesn't have a real sharp edge on it or anything, but I need to get a sanding block and block over it to get that nice and flat. And I got the old front lip off of the truck. This thing is ugly without that thing on there. I can't believe I actually drove it around like this for a little while. One issue I'm going to have, and it's not a big deal for right now though, is the light pods are going to be covered by the front valence. I'm going to end up moving them and actually probably bolting them up into this thing somewhere and mounting them on that. I don't think I'll be able to use these fog light holes because they're, well, maybe I will. We'll see. But I'm probably going to end up bolting them to that plastic somewhere. But for now, I'm just going to leave them right there for the sake of getting this thing on and installed. I'll probably have to cut the sides of this and trim them down so that it sits the same as the bumper, but let's get this thing on and see what it looks like. Alright, well there it is, bolted on. It's not completely finished and it is definitely not completely perfect, but it fit pretty well. I think I messed up installing it in a couple areas, that or the self-tappers that I'm using aren't completely straight. It's probably a mix of both. So I'll go ahead and show you what I need to do still to make this thing fit a lot better and look a lot better. And then tomorrow, since I'm running out of time today, I will come out here and try to finish this and get it looking perfect, or as perfect as I can get it. I'm not going to be able to paint it. I'm basically going to have to get it to fit right, bolt up right, and then just leave it because it's too cold to go out and paint anything. So I just trimmed it to about the same angle as the bumper, and it looks just fine from the side here. You can see we got some bubbling right there, we got some along that, and then it gets worse on this side because the bumper was either tweaked or the screws weren't lining up or something. And then over here I had to cut a section out for the muffler, or I guess exhaust, to clear a little bit better. And already, I mean, if you stand back here, it looks pretty good on there, honestly. I like it. It hangs pretty close to the ground too, but not too close, which was one thing I was afraid of, was that it would hang way too far down, but I think it looks about right. And if I even put the lowering kit on and have it sitting another 2 inches lower, or add more lowering kit to it, it'll still be alright. But that definitely looks better than the garden edging lip, and it looks a lot better than the factory front valence as well. So I'm gonna let's go for now. I'm gonna come back tomorrow once I get some more screws to put in this and I have everything dialed, and I'll show you what it looks like then. Alright guys, I got the entire front bumper done. I went and actually redid the setup quite a bit yesterday and changed a lot of the ways that I was mounting the bumper and everything up, and I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys the setup. I was gonna show this to you guys yesterday, but I was feeling pretty sick by the time I was getting done with it, so I just figured I would wait till today. Here it is, all finished. I got the license plate and the fog lights installed and everything also, so that is all back where it belongs. I actually mounted the license plate higher, so it kind of sits about at the level with the bumper, and then the lower valence is not, you know, being covered by a bunch of the license plate. I think it looks a little bit better with it on there. I'd rather not have it, but I don't feel like getting a ticket for not having a license plate on the front. So license plates moved up and the fog lights are in. And then what I did that was different was I actually trimmed the entire top lip off of this valence completely, because it kind of came up and went up, and then I didn't use the old bolts at all. I just kind of put them back in there so there weren't just a bunch of holes in my bumper. But I didn't use them because as I was tightening a lot of the bolts down, the plastic would kind of stretch and warp, and part of that was because I was tightening them down a little bit too far, and the other issue is it just didn't really want to quite fit right, and it just wasn't working running it that way. The bolt holes also weren't quite lined up all the way across the entire bumper. They kind of drop down a little bit on the passenger side because I just eyeballed everything when I originally put the garden edging lip on here. Actually, you can see it right here where this bolt is here. They're sitting about the same level, and where this bolt is here, they're sitting below it. So I didn't use those and just ran them back in there just so it's not quite as ugly with these stupid holes in it. This bumper's kind of beat up and junk. I've noticed already that there's the gap from on this side of the bumper to the fender is different from the gap on this side of the bumper, so this bumper's not perfect. The way that this thing is kind of beat up is like the perfect fit for this truck, which was kind of the point of using that old beat up valence, plus I still had it. I also cut the bumper back a little bit here because I think it looks better having more of the fender exposed. Did the same thing over on this side, and that was how I kind of noticed that the bumper doesn't sit straight, but that's not a big deal. Also, cutting it up like this meant that I didn't have to cut a section of the bumper or lip out for the exhaust to clear, which is perfect. And then if I redo the exhaust in the future and it's not coming out the front end, which I do want to do at some point, I don't have this weird odd cutout spot on the bumper that just makes it look different on either side of the truck. So that's what it looks like. It fit really well. The only issue fitment wise is this gap right here, but that's because I didn't drill the holes quite right and didn't have this thing pushed back far enough for it to clear perfectly. So I could have fixed that. If I hadn't drilled the holes too far back, basically, I could have had this thing pushed in perfectly. Like this side right here, aside from this little spot here, is pretty much perfect, and even that I probably could have had spot on if I had spent a little bit more time getting it. But I wasn't super worried about it being perfect, because from even a small distance you cannot tell at all. So it's mounted with a bunch of self-tappers up in the front here. We'll get down here. You can see all these self-tappers all the way down the bottom, screwed straight into the bumper. So this thing here is nice and sturdy. This thing doesn't really wobble or flop around or anything. And then there's a bolt and nut in the fog light hole on either side. Down over here to this one right there. And then I got a zip tie going through a little hole I drilled on either side to hold the side of this lip into place, and then I intentionally had it just come back a little bit further past the bumper just because I thought that looked a little bit better than trying to get it perfectly flush. Having it hang over a little bit intentionally just looks a little bit nicer. So I'm happy with how this whole setup looks. I'm super stoked on it. It looks like it's smiling, which is kind of the look I was going for. I have seen this done once before, and that was the inspiration, was the one picture I hopefully was able to find and put up. And it really does fit as good as you think it does. If I had, like I said, if I had spent a little bit more time, I probably could have got it to fit a lot better and done a much cleaner job. But given that it's going on, you know, the old beat up pickup truck, and I just wanted something that looked better than the garden edging lip, this is perfect. It's going to be durable, and it should last a long time. And with this thing being as beat up and rough as it is, since I do plan on lowering the truck another 2 inches at some point, if I do end up bottoming it out on the ground a couple times here and there, it's not going to be the end of the world. Nice thing about it being OEM plastic is it's very durable, but it does have plenty of flex here on the bottom. And this thing, I mean, you could probably hook a chain to this and pull the truck with that if you really wanted to. It's not going to be going anywhere. And it's kind of cool that these fog light holes, since they're just cut out and open, are kind of like little vents to the brakes, which is kind of nice too. I thought about in the future, if I ever get rid of the light pods, I could make like a little block off for the front of it here, like some like you can get for other cars that have vents like that aren't necessarily functional. You can get like block off covers for them. I've seen them on DSMs and stuff where you can get block offs for the fog light holes and stuff, but we'll see. But yeah, that's what it looks like with the later body style Dakota front lip on it. Fit pretty good, just, you know, trimming straight across where it starts to lip up, and using some self tappers, and it fit really, really good. And like I said, if somebody were to spend a little bit more time trimming it and cleaning it up, it would definitely fit almost perfectly. That's going to be the end of this video, guys. I hope you have enjoyed, and I will see you guys later.